Welcome back, hard forkers. I've managed to get Baloo to jump on. Obviously, plenty of action going on at the moment, so a bit of an emergency video for you here. Baloo, what's going on?
Well, I don't know if you got the memo, but crypto's dead.
Yeah, true. Yeah, apparently it is censorable. It is confiscatable. It's definitely not a hedge against inflation.
Everybody was telling us for so long it's a Ponzi scheme. Turns out it is a Ponzi scheme.
Sorry about that, people. See you next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that was our fun. You know, it's all false.
Yeah, it's all
nothing's
false.
Changed.
Yeah. So, complete meltdown. This is the result of leverage. We're in a very illiquid market that it has access to insane amounts of leverage. You go to traditional finance, you can get like 3 or 5x. You come here, you can get 125x. And the caliber of retail investor as far as intent and risk tolerance is very different from traditional finance. So you got a lot of people playing with a lot of leverage all at once. I heard somewhere that Binance, 60% of traders on Binance use 20x or higher. So, we don't have a lot holding us up when we do have these liquidation events. And that can be very difficult to try and find targets to, find a reaction to the downside.
Yep. Yeah. Look, a number of things at play. I mean, look, I play around with leverage. I put out a bit of a rant video the other day about not selling your Bitcoins, and the bulk of my holdings are HODL positions. Yes, I trade with a small percentage of it, and I think there are going to be some fantastic trading opportunities here. It's looking choppy. I think we'll operate in a range, and if you're an experienced trader, a good chance to accumulate more Bitcoin coming up.
Yeah, it's just too much of anything's a bad thing. I use leverage, but when people ask how much leverage I use, and I tell them that I'm margined at a quarter X, or I use 1 or 2x leverage, they think I'm just wasting my time. But I'm still here, still liquid. I've got my stacks, and that's just how it is sometimes. That's how it is a lot of times. This is crypto.
Absolutely, mate. We're going to have a look at the Bitcoin chart in a moment for you people. But, anyone that's been following this channel, I know a lot of my community are really happy to see you making some content with us. If you haven't already subscribed to Baloo's channel, make sure you do, people. I think you've probably been the most accurate of any analyst that I've been following, mate. So,
well, thank you for that.
Don't want to pile any additional pressure on you here or anything.
I mean, thank you. I've made a couple good calls, but hindsight's 2020. It's not so much about the TA. A lot of the times, it's about you actually listening to it. We saw the lower low. When we had a lower low, proceed with caution. We got our lower high, and we had the meltdown. So it is what it is. But I can talk about fun, happy, bullish stuff now if you'd like.
I think just keep it real as you always do, mate. I mean, just before we jump into the chart, I just want to, we literally had every possible piece of fun that you could imagine there, ram-packed into a week, if not a couple of days. And I wouldn't underestimate how powerful that FUD out of China was, and whether you want to call it FUD or not. A lot of people say, okay, how many times do we hear this, China banning it? But, Hong Kong is also an absolute hotbed of crypto action. A lot of big money is traded there. So, where you've got the Chinese saying that potentially crypto is only going to be available to people with $1 million trading account, that's definitely had an impact here. But look, I saw this in 2017. It dropped from 5K off the back of the exact same news. Look where we ended up that year. The fundamentals of Bitcoin haven't changed. And it's also a reminder, if you look at what China's saying, like, you've got to have $1 million to be involved in something uncensorable. Come on now. That's
I 100% agree. if you're going to kind of get into this ecosystem, you need to understand that Bitcoin is a huge threat, massive threat, and it will be threatened many times going forwards, and the threats are only going to get worse. Like, this is profound technology, and if you're here just for the gains and you don't see the larger vision, gains are nice. I mean, everybody's kind of here for the gains, but some people are here for the gains and the vision, and other people are just here for number go up. And there's a big difference. This is going to be threatened many times. Many times. And this is kind of light. This is very light, these types of threats.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the moment, it would be an absolute disaster to get any more hardcore FUD out of the US specifically. I don't think we're going to. I think it's with Gary Gensler as head of the SEC, a guy that has taught Bitcoin and blockchain at MIT for a number of years now. He's at the helm there. I think this guy's taking a very measured approach. We've had an ex-head of the US Treasury talk in the last couple of days about how he really does see crypto as, an institutional grade asset now, a digital gold. Our trading volumes are through the roof compared to where they were even 6 months ago. I think they're about 600% up. We're talking about an institutional grade asset now. That's sort of that third element of Bitcoin. I'm very much about the uncensorable and the unconfiscatable nature of Bitcoin. I know you are as well. But look, there's big players here. This market's choppy now. They're taking retail money off people. That's the game. Of course, they're trading. They're not just hodling. So I understand that. Also, Baloo, I think, what we're seeing at the moment, we've got the highest amount of stable coins sitting on exchanges ever at the moment, record highs. So for me, that also says that a lot of these new players have moved into a stable coin and Tether, USDC, etc. They've not gone back to fiat. So look, just as quickly as this thing's gone down, I think we could see it go back up, especially if a large quantity of retail FOMO's back in when they see this thing moving up. So just be careful on that note, people. Selling low and buying high is what you don't want to be doing here.
Yeah.
So
couldn't agree
let's have
more.
a look at a chart.
Yeah, let's do that. Clean chart. So basically, I hold a lot of weight on trend. So we were at our all-time high. We got our first lower low. It was lower than this low. We got a lower high. That lower high was the confirmation for the meltdown. So we're on a swing low. We're on a swing low right now, and we're trying to find support. Now, the support levels that I kind of tried to find, I used point and figure analysis. I think I did that on the last time last time I did a show with you. So we got a target range of around 41,000 to 36,000. Fear and emotion can overtake technicals often, especially when you have the level of fear that we're seeing in the markets right now. So we're currently below those targets, but I like to look at breakout points. So there was a breakout point here. We're technically below this level, but that's a level of interest for me. I want to see us get above that. But then we also had the breakout of the turnaround on this initial shakeout right here. And that's where we're kind of sitting right now. Mm-hmm. So this, I'm kind of happy with this area. Tentative, we're still technically on our swing low until we start to swing back up. We don't know where the floor is. There's a ton of demand coming in. I see a lot of these tails here, these demand tails on these candles, showing that we're trying to find a little bit of a support. If we look at the RSI, there's a tiny bit of bullish divergence on the higher time frames. So that's an indication of a support level being met. Mm-hmm. There is characteristics that are kind of showing us that we could be finding a floor here. And then the next step is the swing high. Now, does the swing high make a higher high, or does the swing high make a lower high? That is yet to be seen, but there is some stuff that's telling us that we are probably at a floor. Weekly candle closed with a higher candle body close than the swing low on the weekly chart. That's a check mark in the right direction. Even the wick didn't make it below this wick, so that's another check mark in my eyes as well. Funnily enough, you were talking about money on the sidelines. If we go ahead and just take a look at USD.T, USDT.D, which is the Tether dominance chart. This is actually a really fun chart. I don't know if I showed this one to you or not, but I may as well go over it. We'll go on to the RSI. We'll go on to the daily. And I'm actually going to delete the candles because I don't care about the candles on this chart. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on the total. Let's put on Bitcoin. All eyes on Bitcoin right now. Okay, let's get the Coinbase chart on here. And I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. And I want to draw your attention to the oversold condition of the RSI. So oversold, Tether, or sorry, overbought. So Tether overbought, meaning everybody is sitting in Tether. Overbought, 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 currently overbought. Now, every time Tether becomes overbought, now, every model is useful until it isn't, but, we had an uptrend. We rallied off of an overbought level of Tether. So we had one there. We got another overbought condition here. This was kind of just a wimpy little rally, but a rally nonetheless. We got overbought here. That resulted in a nice rally. We had the COVID shakeout, which very much so made us overbought into the DeFi summer. We got another shakeout on the DeFi summer where Tether became overbought. That was our largest rally this run. And we're currently overbought again. So it's back to your point about, money sitting on the sidelines. Everybody is scared. We are at max pain. We are at max fear. We have not seen, the open interest is like nothing. The funding flipped negative. People are freaking scared. And the old saying, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. It's a lot of trading and a lot of investing is doing things that make you really uncomfortable. So I've stepped in as a buyer. My buys were at higher levels. Hey, that's life. That's how things work sometimes. But I'm happy to be a buyer at these levels. Even if we do go down to lower levels, I will still be a buyer because I think that the selling for the most part is exhausted. The leverage has been flushed out of the system. I don't know how much rocket fuel to the downside we have just yet. Maybe we get a little bit of a move down that kind of freaks everybody out and forces everybody short and we get a short squeeze. I don't know. We'll see. But there's a lot of indicators that are kind of making me pretty bullish. And this is just another one of those things. Yeah,
absolutely. So look, I mean, for me at this stage, dollar cost averaging in people, great idea. I'm a long-term holder of both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, I got caught in a few altcoins, and I may have to wait that out. That is painful. But the projects that I am in, Solana, Kusama, Matic, I'm happy with those. I consider them, they're ones I'm happy to have. If I have to sit on them for 6 months, so be it. They will see their all-time highs again. I don't doubt that for a second. But yeah, I guess most of you won't want to hear this at the moment, but it is a bit of a reminder on altcoins. Yep, you can make those big gains, but these corrections happen out of nowhere, and you can get caught in them for a long time. I think we only need to look at Bitcoin today because I think the entire market is going to be following Bitcoin. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would actually like to surprise you in the audience with another chart that is kind of the larger vision as to why we're all here and why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin overall. So I'm going to do that.
Do that. More charts. I love charts.
All right, so this is the monthly chart of the DXY. Everybody was talking about the Bitcoin distribution and how scary the Bitcoin distribution is. The US dollar is in a distribution. And this is on the monthly chart. This has been going on for a very long time. And we're at the tail end of a distribution. This is what's known as the LPSY, the last point of supply. This is where Bitcoin completely melted down. Like if you're comparing Bitcoin's, distribution, it was the last point of supply where Bitcoin melted down into this correction. Now, if the US dollar does that, companies, Fortune 500 companies, hedge fund managers, everybody really is going to be heavy-handed into finding assets, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be real estate, whether it be anything, any hard asset, because the dollar value is going to be going down. We're seeing a lot of inflation come in. We're seeing a lot of money printing. I think inflation is just around the corner. And this chart is just kind of reaffirming those suspicions that I have. If you take a look at this area right here, this was the 2017 Bitcoin bull run, just range bound on the DXY. So from the swing high on the DXY to the swing low, this was the Bitcoin bull run. And from the swing high of the up thrust after distribution to where we are in the LPSY has also been this bull run. So while everybody's all scared and wondering what to do next and thinking that crypto is dead, I'm entertaining the thought of a possible super cycle. Because if this plays out, this is pretty profound. I'm going to back it up to the last time we had a distribution. The last time the DXY had a distribution was back in 2002. The LPSY was in 2002. And from that point, we had a 6-year period of asset inflation that was primarily inside of the housing market. The housing market went completely insane. We had a lot of overvaluation. We had a lot of lending. We had a lot of inflation.
Yep.
This rally right here is the 2008 financial crash. So if history is to repeat itself, it doesn't always repeat itself, but it sure does like to rhyme sometimes. This scenario right here, where we fall out of a distribution on the dollar, this would be a super cycle, I would imagine. This would be a long-term Bitcoin super cycle. Now, maybe I'm just a moon boy, and maybe I'm just, getting ahead of myself. This is the monthly chart. This could take a long time, and there's no guarantee that we don't go back inside of the range. But I am curious as to, what the future may hold, because I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest to see some sort of event of mass inflation and repricing of everything that we have in this world. And when we're in these events, we go to hard assets.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that's fantastic you brought that up, actually. So, one thing to remember here is that we've seen so much of this price appreciation has centered around the institutional players, that third element of Bitcoin, if you will, an anti-inflation hedge. So, these corporate treasuries have understood that even gold inflates at 2% a year. If they were holding cash, they're arguably losing 25% of its value as other assets have been inflating, property, equities, things that you want to buy that aren't necessarily reflected in a CPI, a consumer price index. They're misleading stats. So that big money, those institutional players, looking at a chart like this, the bullish case for Bitcoin is stronger than it's ever been. I couldn't agree with you more. That's a fantastic chart to be looking at this point. The fundamentals are just getting stronger and stronger for that Bitcoin play. I'm absolutely super confident that we're going up here. Look, we may trade sideways for a bit here. I think a lot of institutions will be looking for some clarity around Elon Musk's comments, how things will play out with China. But coming back to China, it's also important to remember here, people, that what you're seeing there in that chart is partly driven by currency wars. There are currency wars going on. There is a world war going on with currency right now. So China coming in and effectively saying that, you know, they're looking to ban this, whether that's to control capital controls to stop money leaving their country, or another way to look at this, are they doing that to negate the ability of this asset to be used as somewhat of a reserve by the other countries that they are in effect competing with in a currency war. So, you know, China straight up battle with USD. To me, better if Bitcoin is around for the US and its interests in that scenario. So big macro pictures to have a bit of a think about, and that's a fantastic chart to have looked at. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is the monthly chart, so it moves very, very slowly, but its swings are large. So who knows how long it'll consolidate underneath that trading range. But, you know, if it does break down, I think that would be the most bullish chart that you could be looking at right now in terms of Bitcoin appreciation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if could you just bring that Bitcoin chart up one more time, and I just want to just zoom out over even just the last year, just to finish this video, you know, just to remind people of we have come a long way, people. Really, when you just zoom out one more time here before we wrap up today, you know, I've taken a few steps back and cleared my head. I understand that the big macro picture for Bitcoin. I understand why I'm in it. Yes, I do trade it, a small percentage of my stack. And yeah, that's had mixed success lately, I'll be honest. But big picture, I'm hodling Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, Solana, Kusama to lesser degrees. But, you know, look at the zoomed out chart here, people. It's still an extremely strong upward trend. It's the best performing asset in human history. The macroeconomic situation here for this asset is as strong as it's ever been and getting stronger. Now, I don't like the fact that is really coming because the economy's in the shit, but that's just the reality. I think it's a flight to safety for a lot of institutional players here, and I just see that getting stronger. So you're close eye on the dollar, but here we go. You know, zooming out. What's the time period we've got there, Baloo?
This is on the 3-day. This is the BLX, Brave New Coin Liquid Index. This is the longest, chart that we have. It's basically indexing all of the Bitcoin information across all exchanges. It's the longest chart we have, and number go up. You just got to zoom out. These retracements are scary. Listen, I don't want to sound too nonchalant about what people are going through. You know, I've been there. We've all been there. We've kind of gotten another taste of it today. You know, I look at my portfolio and I'm not stoked about it. But I've been in this market long enough to have been conditioned into accepting these as just a part of it. And, you know, if you can't handle the down, you don't deserve the up, really. And these are lessons. And they really, really do help you. If you get into a bull market and you never experience a retracement, you will not sell the top and you will not sell the bear market and you will lose it all. So, you know, it's a lesson, and it's really important, and it's needed, and it reshuffles and reorganizes and revalues, and it'll happen again. And it'll happen again, and it'll happen again, because it always does. But over time, we consistently go up. And that's just, you know. It's a time to zoom out, isn't it, mate? It's a time to also, if you haven't really understood the fundamentals of Bitcoin, you know, you can come at this asset class, specifically Bitcoin, from a philosophical point of view, you know, from a trading point of view, from a political point of view. There's many, many facets to this. And I just implore you, I mean, you know, my channel was purely about education on Bitcoin for a number of years. You know, I've written 400 articles on it. I'm very passionate about what this does bring to us. You know, it's the first time in human history that we've got money separate from state.
That's important, and please take the time to understand that at this moment. It will make you a lot more confident during these dumps. And this is a dump, not a dip. So take that time. Hang in there, people. Hang in there. Don't worry, it'll come back. I do
hang
worry
on for dear life
about, people running for the hills and then buying back at higher prices. You've got to understand what your trading strategy is.
They will, and there's a lesson there too. I think I'm guilty of that, running away and then watching it go back up and buying back in higher. There's a lesson there too. There's lessons everywhere. The market is the best teacher you have as long as you're willing to listen. There's a vision here, and it's going to be a bumpy road. I think that there's more bumps ahead. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, listen, mate, thanks so much for jumping on. We are going to move this definitely to a live show on Wednesday, people. So, we want to jump in there and meet some of you. I know we've been doing recorded shows, but Baloo does a live show 3 times a week on his channel as well. There's a link below to that. Make sure you get over there and follow this guy. I really rate his content very highly. Lots of good stuff coming up for you here on the Hard Forking channel this week. We've got some exciting news in the play to earn space, which I believe is a sector of the crypto market that is something you need to know about. It's huge. There's a hell of a lot of great stuff happening there, people. So we'll be covering that in the next couple of days for you. Baloo, thanks so much for jumping back on, mate, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you then.
Cheers now.
Cheers.